Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel today. What I have got for you is something new. It's a product sent by a company called Kemi Moto. K-E-M-I Moto. I've never had any of their products before, but what this is a tail light tidy. So there's a few of these on the market, but what makes this one pretty unique is it's just simply one piece. It's one bracket. It comes with an integrated light, turn signal and brake light, all integrated into one. Very small, very compact. And it's got the factory plug-and-play connections on it. So I don't know exactly how it's going to install. They asked me to do an installation and review on the product. I agreed to do it. It's the first one I've ever done on the channel. But this product was kind of interesting to me because it's cheap. It's, and I mean cheap as in it doesn't cost a ton of money. The kit I've got on my bike that I'm going to have to uninstall to install this one is I believe it's a TST Industries kit. And that was rather expensive. I want to say it was well north of $100. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I bought it. But it was expensive, and I believe this kit, it's available on Amazon, and I think it comes in at around the $50 or $60 mark. So anyway, I agreed to do it because I've had a lot of conversations with people about my light kit, and I wanted to see how this one works, see how easy it is to install, see what it looks like. Another thing I like about it is it's got integrated turn signals. Brackets, I should say. So if you want to continue to use your factory turn signals, I don't know why you would, but if you wanted to, you can. They'll mount up right here. The instructions, it does come with a one-page set of instructions. I don't think on here it tells you at all how long to expect to take, but it looks like a really simple, straightforward project. Mine's going to take a little bit longer because, like I say, I got to take off my rack and I got to take off that TST's, my tail tidy. I shouldn't be saying TST because I'm not entirely sure that's who it was. It could have been a different company. Okay, so there's my current setup. As you can see, I've got a case mounted on there, which is on a rack. And there's my tail light. It's really small. It's a nice, tidy kit. I've been happy with it. And in fact, if Kemi Moto hadn't reached out to me, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to change it. The only complaint I did have with it, and you could probably see that here in the video, is that bracket, that piece of plastic, this piece right here, that's on there because the holes didn't line up to mount a standard Florida motorcycle license plate. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get that uninstalled. And then okay, so my tail tidy is now out. As you can see, you're going to be left with just that bracket. The factory one, yes, went just like that. You're going to have two bolts that go through the top of this, maybe the bottom. I don't recall exactly. Two bolts up here in the front. That's what holds on this factory unit. There's these two nuts and then two bolts. And of course everything's plug and play with the factory. You got your factory harness. But this thing's huge. This is the unit that I've been using. As you can see, it's real simple also. It's got just one plate, and then this light assembly just bolts onto it. I will have to find that bolt that I dropped. Yeah, let's do this out in the grass, I said. It'll be cool, I said. As stated earlier, here is the Kemi Moto bracket. That I would imagine is going to go somewhere like this. I could read the directions, but who's got time for that? You're going to use your factory bolt unless you lose one of them like I did, in which case you're not going to use your factory bolt. You're going to try to find it. Probably almost just finger tight would be good enough. Now, one thing I do see right away, it is real close to my exhaust. So I don't like that. It's coming in real close to my fender. There's the tiniest sliver of air if I move it. Now I could probably add some spacers here. So in fairness, while I'm thinking about this, if I remember correctly, I got these out of the factory plastic. And this is all we're talking about. 2 rubber grommets and 2 metal spacers. This is your factory fender. It's got 2 holes on the sides that bolt into the front behind your white panels. And then in the back, these 2 right here, they bolt up from underneath. That corresponds with these 2 holes, which are these 2 big holes that you could fit grommets through these, but they're going to line up and your bolts are going to go underneath into the green fender. So you can't put anything here from the top side. You've only got these 2 mounting spots right here. This is a workaround. It's not ideal. So Kemi Moto, one way to improve this kit is on your 2 bolts that hold the bracket in place, make the holes bigger and add some kind of grommet with a slip-through bushing. This is the slip-through bushing I'm talking about. The grommet would go over this shaft and your bolt would go through it. You need some kind of space right here. You got to lift this bracket up or do something with this bracket over here. If you're going to use this kit with an aftermarket exhaust, that can't touch there. It's too close. It's going to hit your muffler. Or you could stack washers up. Obviously, the grommet is getting smushed down. It's only got 2 points of attachment right here. Okay, there's removal, unplug all wires. Okay, here's the first step. Step 5 is the installation of theirs. They tell you to use the 2 original bolts, which are these 2 bolts right here. And then it's just a reassembly. So that's it. That's the kit. Let's first run my wires up there. All right, so what we got here, we got 2 holes in the bracket. And then the light itself has got little grooves cut into it for these. I don't know really what you call this kind of a stud. It's just got a square on one end and then a stud. So what these do, presumably they would slide in there like this. Yeah. Slide in like that. Snaps into place. That's pretty easy. And then the other one, I'm using the 2 outside holes, the 2 furthest holes. There's 2 in the middle too, I would assume, for different applications. And then these will just go in there like this. And then on the back side, you'll attach 1 washer and 1 nut. Attach your light assembly to your bracket before putting your bracket on. I'm sure this is why companies give you instruction. The wiring is really simple. You've got 2 turn signals, which will match up with your 2 turn signals on the bike. I can't remember which is left, which is right. That's not Kemi Moto's fault, that's my fault. If it's wrong, you just simply swap them. They'll only go one way, like that. They snap in nice and easy. And then this one. Let's see if it works. Oh, we've got a light. All right, so I gotta admit, I don't hate the light. The light looks good. That's just a running light right now, obviously. Let's give it some brake. There's your brake light. Let's give it a left turn. Left turn. Oh man, I got it right the first time. There's your left turn signal, and there's your right turn signal. Okay, it's not bad. It's the orange. It's rather bright. I don't have any beef with the light itself. Let's try it running. I wanted to get an idea of what this looks like with the fender installed. Like I said earlier, there are only 4 bolts that hold this fender on. So a minute ago, when I was looking at this was moving. However, the fender going on is going to tighten that up. Okay, in complete fairness to this company, I've decided to take the bracket back off. And what I did was I mounted the taillight assembly to the bracket using a little bit better nut than came on it. A really tiny one came on it. I found one that had a washer as part of the nut, like this here. It's probably not going to show up on camera too well, but the light just bolts through like this. Those studs go through this bracket, and then there's nuts to go on the back side. I just found a little bit better of a nut. The problem that this light's got is where there's only 2 holes in this aluminum bracket for this light to go to. And when you put this bracket into place on the bike, the 2 mounting studs for the light hit these 2 seat, well, I don't know what these posts are for. These are factory posts. This right here is what I'm talking about. It hits down on top of that bracket right there. On this side. On the other side it doesn't. You know, unless you want to get creative and fab it a little bit, widen those holes, drill new holes. This mounts just like this. That hole pattern lines up. You bolt it down there. This hole pattern is where the bolts come through to connect the green cover down to the subframe. Got this problem over here. It doesn't look so bad right now. Okay, so there, that's all installed. That's a little bit high into the fender. I mean, almost like this peak needs to be cut back. Some guys would have no problem with that, but I don't want to trim mine. This sits up in there quite a bit. So that's another thing to keep in mind. It's not obstructing it, but it's not entirely visible either. I've never had any problems with the connectors getting wet and causing any kind of issue with the lighting. At least not in the couple of years I've had the old set. Well, the camera died, but here we go. Here's a once-over of the kit on the bike. As you can see, I don't have my license plate on yet. And I'm hand holding this, so there's the light with the bracket. The only issue I've got, now that the top cover, that green and black cover is on, that point does seem to be a little bit of an issue for me. I don't know if it's going to affect anything when I'm riding for the people behind me. I imagine if people are back far enough, it won't. But that peak, I think, would really need to be trimmed. It covers too much of that brake light for my liking. I'd like it to be a little bit more exposed. My other issue is how close that comes right there to the tailpipe. It doesn't touch, but it does not give a lot of room either. There's not a lot of wiggle. Now see, that point probably ought to be cut flush straight across to eliminate that peak from covering it up. Your electrical connections and everything is nice and tidy up under there. There's no issue with that. They give you a couple of zip ties, which is plenty. You could do something a little bit more with those connections if you want to. Maybe pack them with some dielectric grease after they're installed to keep schmuck from getting up in there. But I don't really care too much. But there's a look at it. The wire goes through that hole in the bracket. No issue there at all. It's a good solid kit. It's got a few things I'd change, but overall that's it. So thanks for watching. If you decide to purchase this Kemi Moto brake light kit for the 2021, 22, and I believe 23 Kawasaki KLX300, let them know that you saw the video here with Florida Two-Wheel Adventures. I'm not going to get any kind of a kickback, but you know, what the hell. Tell them. There we go. It is on the Kawasaki KLX300, if it'll focus. Thanks for watching. Keith and Kemi Moto are out.